using the saw, because better than testing the safety features of the saw, is better to not even be in that situation.
Yeah.
So.
And are you ever worried about the saw stop for the fact that there's no way to test if the mechanism is actually going to work?
It will work.
There is a way to test the saw stop. When the saw stop is off, it has the red and green light, and if you touch the blade, the light turns red. So, without it spinning, you know. While the saw is technically it's in on position, but the blade is off. So before you pull it out to start the blade, while the light is green, if you touch the side of the blade, the light will turn red, and that's how you know it's working.
Now, just as a, you know, I have 4 grandsons. None of them are interested in woodworking. If they were, I would go out and buy a saw stop tomorrow. Kevin's my nephew. You know, I ain't gonna buy one for him. And now, what is the only thing that you don't do on my table saw? You cross cut with this guy, right?
Right. Yep.
But you ripping is probably one of the more dangerous aspects of it using a table saw.
Yeah, I've not had to do it or done
Yeah,
it.
he doesn't.
Yeah.
I'll do that because it's too easy and I don't want to. Yeah, eventually you'll get there.
Yep.
And I'm not going to buy a saw stop for you.
Thanks.
Yeah, I love you, but interesting.
Anybody else questions or comments about table saws for this type of stuff?
Yeah, can you hear me? This is Jay.
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, so I weaned my teeth on a job site saw stop, and I recently graduated to professional model. I think everything that has been said is correct. A couple other comments I would make. My first experience with firing the safety feature of the saw stop was I was ripping beams, treated beams, and the moisture got me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's 2 things that I do now. If I have any suspicion at all and I don't know the moisture content, I check the moisture content with my moisture meter, because that'll get you for sure. It conducts electricity and it'll fire your saw. The other thing is, if you're using anything, and this is a biggie, if you're using any reclaimed or repurposed wood, you're going to get caught by a nail or a screw that you don't know about.
Yep.
So I also have one of the wands that TSA uses, and if I use anything repurposed or I'm not sure, I wand the wood
Smart.
before it goes to the saw. It's just too expensive. It's not only the 100 for the cartridge, but it's the 60 to 100 for the blade.
Yep.
Because they both become fused they become interesting artwork that you can hang in your shop.
I save those trophies.
Yeah, the Baloo Foundation has about 4 or 5 trophies on the wall.
And every trophy has a story. There's actually 2 more I will add to that. I had an employee who was in a hurry and tried to cut a piece he just glued up. Wet glue.
Wet glue.
Will set off your saw. And then right after he replaced the cartridge, he set it off again. Because he finished the cut and he did not wait after the saw was off for the blade to come to a complete stop. And he let something touch it, and it triggered it. So,
For those who aren't familiar with the saw stop, you can create the faux pas of operating in the unsafe mode if you know you have things that are going to fire your safety mechanism, like a head and screw or a nail.
Yeah.
You can cut through it.
But it doesn't stay in that mode.
You need to intentionally set it in the unsafe mode. And I would echo the comment about testing it to know whether it's working. First of all, when you turn the power on, it runs through a checkout sequence and the lights are blinking and such, and it'll tell you if it does this code sequence, it's good to go. If it doesn't, it's ultimately has to end up green, and that tells you that it's had run the circuit is ready to go, and you can use it. And I would finally say, no matter what the price of the saw is, and it's definitely pricey, it's a damn good saw to start with.
Yeah.
and plus it has a safety feature. And I think it's become in academic centers the standard of care. I have a daughter who was a professor of sculpture at the collegiate level, and she said definitely it's saw stop or nothing.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I wouldn't, I would not buy a table saw unless it were a saw stop, period. And that, if you're not picking up, that's the recommendation. Yeah, you don't have to
I
disclaimer.
I think we've gotten that, yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
it's, you know, I was in construction and you know, skill saws, 77, I don't know, cutting, stacking roofs and all that kind of stuff. And I worked with so many guys that were missing portions of their fingers on usually their left hand, I think it was, because of kickback on it with a skill saw. And, you know, they weren't thinking, and it's a devastating injury. You know, we've been lucky, or I've been lucky, but I do go through my safety procedures. Do I know where my fingers are? I will say that until I don't cut wood anymore.
Yep.
Jay, that's great.
A
Thanks.
question.